you so much.
This is a test of the City of Black audio system.
Yes. Emergency phone, yes. August the 6th, 2022, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. To order, please. If all would rise, I'll bring the invocation, and Mr. Burnett. Oh, he's on the, Pastor Mulberry, if you would, if you do the invocation, please. Are you there, Pastor Mulberry?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir. Father, again, we thank you for how good you've been all day. You blessed us and woke us up early this morning and allowed us to see a day we've never seen before. We thank you, dear God, for your many benefits and blessings. We pray, God, that your hand will stay upon this board, these members, and every constituent. We pray that blessing to be upon them. Give them wisdom in all their decision makings. Father, you know what needs to be done for this city better than any of us do. You said in all our ways acknowledge you, and you'll direct our path. We need your directions in all we do. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please join me in pledge the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
Amen.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please have a seat. Ms. Sonny, could you do the roll call, please?
Certainly. Ms. Owens is not present for the record. Ms. Wilson is not present for the record. Mr. Deloach is excused. Chase Barnes.
Here.
Earl Wallace.
Here.
Andrew Burnett.
Here.
Chairman Killebrew.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll now do the appeals and procedures and ex parte communication. Any person wishing to appeal any decision made by the planning board with respect to any matter considered at such meeting will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose will need to ensure that verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is based. Florida statutes 286-0105. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion for appeals or approval of minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Let me see here. I don't have any cards for public comments. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public comment not on what we're speaking on, just in general? Seeing none, we'll move on into regular business. Mr. Lorenzo, you want to who's bringing us to the first case there? PB case 2327.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I haven't been continued a couple of times, then. This item has been continued. It's been in the works for a few months now. And this is a final plat. The preliminary plat was approved by the board back in, let's see. I believe the preliminary was approved back in 2023. And now they're coming for the final plat. It's a 31.63 acres, and they're trying to subdivide the existing parcel into 4 parcels, creating 3 new out parcels. We have reviewed this application, like I said many times. Since the last meeting, we were supposed to listen. It was continuing in May, if you remember. And after that, the applicant submitted new revised plans, which is what we have here. And based on our review, they meets the requirements generally of the Florida statute and our code. We also have contracted independent surveyor to represent the city for the review of the proposed plat. And he indicated that he has no concerns with the plat. And he provided no comments. So our recommendation still is for approval of this final plat. And if there's any condition that had to be addressed by the applicant, they will have to do it before it goes to the city commission.
Okay, thank you.
With that, I'm going to turn it over to the agent for the applicant. He's going to walk you through their proposal.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Autumn Martinage, Matthews, DCCM. We have a PowerPoint presentation that'll be pulled up momentarily. I do have smaller 8.5 by 7.
Excuse me just a minute.
Yes.
Is there any way we can get the ring out of these microphones? Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Try this again. I do have 11 by 17 copies of the plat as well, if someone wants to see something that's smaller than the giant version over here. Surveyor was going to attempt to log on via Zoom. Not sure if he's been able to jump on or not. Oh, there he is.
He logged on.
He logged on in person. Hey, Steven. What's what happens when you don't pay attention to the audience? Is there a clicker or should I just tell you to advance to the next slide? Right. Oh. I mean, I could do it either way, whatever is.
Executive decision.
There you go.
Bad decisions.
Okay. Yeah, there are some notes on a couple of the slides, but nothing. All right. There we go. So this is the Palatka Mall subdivision plat, PB 2327. I should say final plat, not preliminary plat. The property is located at 400 North State Road 19. It is currently developed as the Palatka Mall, located on the northwest side of State Road 19 between St. John's Avenue and Reed Street. You can see an aerial here on the screen. The existing future land use is commercial, with the existing zoning is intensive commercial or C2. So we are requesting to plat the site for a total of 4 lots, as Lorenzo said. The B, C, and D you see denoted on this aerial via the yellow stars is the general location of these new parcels, with A being the parent parcel, as I call it, which is the rest of the site at large. And this is the north part. You can see this is parcel C, which is on the northwest side of the site. Parcel A, which is located immediately adjacent to the Lowe's boundary property line. And then parcel B is the parcel to the south, with parcel B again being the entire rest of the parcel. We have shown all existing easements, including utility easements on the site. There will be a reciprocal access easement agreement filed at the time of platting to allow the 3 parcels to basically access the entire parent parcel for both vehicular, pedestrian access, as well as any utility needs or anything like that. They will have a universal access easement for the entire parcel D. And then this is just some of the zoning notes. And then note 12 here, you can see 12.1, 12.2, and 12.3 are the general language related to the easements that are also part of the reciprocal access easement draft that was provided as part of our application. And with that, I'm here for questions. And Stephen's here if there's any plat related questions as well.
Okay, thank you. Anybody on the board got any questions?
What's the phrase at the end of the description, man? Go through the description.
It helps if I. This page right here, sir?
No, it's the description of the parcel being subdivided. You've got a link, you know what I'm talking about, Steve.
I don't have it in front of me.
It's over here.
On that back on the page.
That's on the first page.
Oh, it's on the first page.
Where it says not part of record description.
Can you speak into a microphone, please, Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry.
Stephen.
Can you speak into a microphone, please,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair? State your name.
This is Stephen
Okay,
Speaks
thank you.
from 120 Raintree Woods Trail, Palaca, Florida, 32177. Probably Earl, where it says not part of record description. That's probably a Scrivener's error that should come out. The acreage, the 31.45 acres is probably the total acreage. And then where it says said land situated and being part of Putnam County, Florida, that's that's where it's at.
That needs,
Huh?
you said it's a Scrivener's error. It
Yeah.
needs to be fixed.
I agree.
And the title of the plat in your description. And it's supposed to.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't even remember that thing. In your description, you say it's a part of a recorded subdivision already. And in 177, you're supposed to call it in your description and in the caption of the plat, that it's a replat of part of that. First couple of lines of your description, you say you give, it's a meets and bounds description, being a part of Sunny Heights, is it?
Sunny Gardens.
Sunny Gardens or whatever it is, but you don't call the name of the plat as being a replat of part of Sunny Gardens. And then, which is 177.
So this description is the description of record. I feel like I'm hearing you say, Earl, that it would be more appropriate if I said a replat of the Palaca Mall plat.
Not more appropriate.
It'd be correct.
It would be correct.
Yeah.
And you've got to, in your name of your plat, what do you call it? Palaca Mall or something like that?
Palaca Mall plat.
Yeah, you got to call out that it is a replat of part of
Sunny
Heights,
Gardens. Sunny
Sunny
Gardens.
Gardens.
Okay.
If I could just aid this discussion, Florida statute 177 does require that it be called a replat. I do believe that would constitute a Scrivener's error that can easily be rectified without the need for going back through a public hearing on this matter. But you'll need to make your approval if that is the direction that this board chooses to go in. You need to have that a condition so that we can make the appropriate changes in terms of fixing that errors before it's recorded in the public records.
And in your notes, you have, for your legend there, go to that.
Yes, sir.
Take that.
Can you switch back to our presentation, please?
Uh, Keep going. It's where you call for, I think it's supposed to be building restriction lines, but I'm not sure what it's called.
These right here, the 1, 2, and 3 under number 12 are specifically related to the easement. And this is language that was brought up by the
This is
attorney.
in your legend there. You know, where's your legend at, Stephen?
I'm not familiar with the PowerPoint presentation.
The legend is not in the PowerPoint. We did not put the legend.
Here, I can find it in this. Here, I got that. Get some glasses. I'm sorry, I'm screwed up. It's the next plat, but that's okay, so.
Okay, so that doesn't apply to us. Okay.
You good, Mr. Wallace?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this against or for in the audience? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
I have one quick question, if you don't
Okay.
mind. Mr. Wallace, last time this came up, you had a long list of concerns about the plat. And relying heavily on your background in surveying, are you satisfied with the current minus the scribbler's error?
I only got to see it a couple hours ago. And after that meeting, I had a meeting with the city attorney, the planner, and another planner. And we discussed it all. And so then when I saw today's, some of those things are still there. So I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied, but
Would you mind pointing out what other revisions you'd like to see addressed? So that we can be aware of them?
I'm not gonna go through the whole plat sitting here. I've shown the planners and the city attorney what I had problems with last time. And I assume that they told Stephen to fix them. And you understand?
I hear you. I'm relying heavily on your satisfaction of the details of which you have the knowledge.
Based, and this is gonna cause heartburn, but based on what I looked at earlier over in the planning department and what I see now, I'm gonna vote no when it comes time to approve.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
You
I'm
good?
not telling you, you know, y'all
No.
vote your own conscience. There's they're monumental, no. But, no, not you. Lean forward one point, Stephen. It's a sloppy plat and this is our, how many times? 4 or 5?
30,
Huh?
right, 30.
30? It feels like it. But slowly we've been gnawing away with these things. And be honest with you, I'm tired of knowing. I'm just gonna vote no.
Okay.
Well, I'm of the opinion that obviously have been well beyond my realm of expertise when we get into plats. So I'm leaning heavily Mr. Wallace's judgment of the product. And the issues that he pointed out last meeting that apparently have not been addressed.
Can we
No.
speak to that
Yeah.
briefly?
Yeah.
If staff could
If-
speak to that.
Okay, great.
Mr. Chairman, can I address that issue?
That was
if I may.
my next
Hang on
point,
a
yes.
second.
Can anybody elaborate on any of that?
I've retired all of my licenses. I don't have a dog in the fight anymore. Just,
You're a big dog to be fighting in here, so just,
well,
Don't even try to
I
put-
used to be, but I got. the
Don't
cops
even
getting
try
out
that
from under me.
you good? Yeah. that's-
Yeah, Mr. Wa- I just want to address, we did meet with Mr. Wallace, the city attorney, myself, and Sherry from my staff. We went over some of the issues that he pointed out, and after that was related to the applicant and to their surveyor. They did resubmit a new plat addressing which we believe were all the concerns. Except for today's, those scrivener's errors. We believe it satisfied, the issues that were raised. And that's the reason we're recommending approval. We're not surveyors, we don't have the expertise, but we review against the statute and against the staff and against the code as much as we could. And then we have the surveyor that it was hired, not hired by the city, but working in behalf of the city to have an independent review of that plat. And the surveyor has indicated that he has no concerns over it. So if this board wants to approve this, I would suggest or recommend to you, you do so with the condition that those criminal errors that were pointed out today are addressed before it goes to the city commission. I will not schedule the item for the city commission unless those items are satisfied.
And 177 is like a checklist. It's Florida statutes. You can start at the top and read the first item, look at your plat. If you've completed that, check it off and go to the next one. And you can go down through there. And when you come out the other end, you got a plat that is completely compliant. But you got to take the time to do those things. And there's actually a put out by the state, there is a checklist that you can go down and check the boxes as you go through. 177, and that's our plat law for subdivisions. And the reason it's there is to keep something from getting in the records, like say a replat of. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but a surveyor he knows that is a replat of this previous subdivision. He needs to pay attention to the previous two. If you just got, you don't know that, especially if you're from out of county. So
Would you like to speak?
I would like to address
Address it?
the,
Yes, ma'am.
so as Lorenzo said, we did meet with Ms.
Do me
West,
a favor, repeat your name and address.
Autumn Martinage, 7 Waldo Street, St. Augustine.
Thank you.
We did meet with city staff to go over Mr. Wallace's concerns back in March, April, quite a while ago. And staff, my team did pull chapter 177 and we went through the plat with a fine tooth comb. We then met with Mr. Speaks and again went over everything. We thought that we had made every change, everything. Staff was satisfied. Mr. Morris, who reviewed our plat, was satisfied. If it is of the pleasure of the board and we are able to, per Florida law, we would be happy to sit down with Mr. Wallace to, again, go over everything and just, because we have not spoken directly with Mr. Wallace. You know, we've through staff. So we are happy to do so again, just to make sure before we get to city commission that something hasn't slipped through the cracks.
Okay, let me ask you this, maybe, Ms. West, maybe you can tell me this. Mr. Wallace, if you would make I just included you, so you perk your ears up at me.
You're
Her, your ears are always perked up at me. If we get you to make a motion with all the things that you think need to be addressed, and then allow the staff to take care of those through that motion, would that satisfy you?
I told you how I'm gonna vote.
Okay,
At some point, I can come down and do it again.
I just don't want to, I mean, with the business and them trying to do what they're doing, I just don't
I
want.
understand that completely. I dealt with, clients
Yes, sir, I understand.
43 years.
Yes, sir.
And I know time is money. And I understand her position.
I mean, I'm not trying to pound something through here. I'm just trying to make a compromise where, we can work through this and staff could.
I'll do whatever needs to be done.
Well, you're really the only one that has the knowledge, like he said,
Well,
that
you're
could.
throwing a lot on me. I don't have a license anymore. I got rid of it.
Okay, so, I mean, but
I
that
had
doesn't,
strokes and couldn't go in the woods and swamps, so I quit.
yes. Sir. Ms. West, do you have an idea of how we could do that?
Yeah,
My question was if revisions need to be made after the fact, it has to turn around and come back to us, correct?
it depends on the significance of the revisions. Obviously, if it's a Scrivener's error, that does not need to come back to the planning board. If it amounts to something more than a Scrivener's error, then it would need to come back. So I do just want to preface this with, we also value all of our volunteer board members, especially the expertise that Mr. Wallace brings to the table. And we did not take his comments from the last meeting lightly. We spent a considerable amount of time, I'm talking hours and hours, over the
Yes, ma'am.
planning conference room, going over every single detail. And he's right, 177 serves as a master checklist on plats. And I do believe, with the exception of defining it as a replat, you have met the current statutory requirements for plat approval. I appreciate the applicant's offer to meet with us again. But at this point, we really have chewed the meat off of this bone pretty extensively.
Yes, ma'am.
And it has used significant resources to try and complete that objective. So we are trying the best we can without an internal surveyor on staff. And I do appreciate your time.
You know what I told you before the meeting?
Y'all sitting too close together to be jawing like that. So I'm gonna ask again. You don't have any more questions?
I
I've been looking that way.
No,
I was
sir.
looking at you. I apologize.
Don't have questions. Obviously, we don't want to hold up progress. But at the same time, details are important and they create issues down the road. So I'm just, if staff is very confident that they've crossed the i's or crossed the t's, dotted the i's, and that they don't foresee any issues coming forward, then I'm comfortable taking them at their word with that.
So what's the pleasure of the board?
Given that information, Mr. Chair, if you will, I'll make the motion that we recommend the approval of the final plat, subject to the correction of the Scrivener's error noted earlier by Mr. Wallace.
Second.
I'll second.
I didn't note a Scrivener's error. I asked what that note meant.
Okay.
For the record, the Scrivener's error would be per Florida Statute 177, properly categorizing it as a replat.
Replat, yeah.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Let's all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Nay. Have 3 ayes and 1 nay. Motion passes. Moving on along to case number PB-10.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
This is 2410, the McLaury Drive, and it has a multiple request in this application. And let me just point out to you that when this first was applied to the city for approval, it was just one parcel of 31 acres. Subsequent to that, the applicant acquired an additional parcel. And therefore, it's the reason that the staff report is a structure based on the parcels. And then at the end, we have a recommendation that is a little bit different what they requested. And I will explain that to you when I get to the recommendation. But basically, there are 2 parcels. They ask him, I divided in parcel A and parcel B just to make it a little bit easier to follow, because it could be complicated. So they're asking for annexation of parcel A, which is 23 and something acres, into the city. They're also asking to amend the future land use designation on that parcel and have a rezoning. On parcel B, which is the one that they acquire afterwards, they're asking also for that is inside the city. That does not require an annexation. It's already part of the city. And they're asking for a future land use amendment and a rezoning as well. If we just focus on parcel A, like I said, that is within the county and is part of an existing enclave. It's completely surrounded by city boundaries, except for 2 parcels that are to the north. But it's a big enclave that, based on the statute, it needs to be eliminated or at least reduced. And this application is doing that by annexing this parcel into the city. They're asking for an amendment from the Putnam County Urban Service to the city medium density residential RM, and the rezoning from the existing R1 of the county to the city plan unit development zoning. On parcel B, which is inside the city, they're seeking a rezoning from the current multifamily residential R3 and neighborhood commercial C1A to plan unit development. That parcel has 2 zoning designations. The one that is fronting on St. John's is a commercial, and the rest of the parcel is residential. And they're also asking that to be a PUD, a planned unit development. We have reviewed the annexation. It meets the requirements of the statutes. We have reviewed also the application for the future land use against the standards that we have in our code, as well as the rezoning, and they all meet our standards, the annexation, the rezoning, and the future land use amendment. However, our recommendation is a little bit different what they apply, but the only reason is that the plan unit development overlay is just that it's an overlay that you apply to an existing land use designation or existing zoning. The problem with this application is that in the case of parcel B, they're asking to go straight to PUD. But if it doesn't have an underlying residential designation, they cannot get the density they're proposing to have. They're proposing to have a designation, a density of 8 units per acre, gross acre. And the final intent is to develop these 2 parcels together with a residential development to 248 townhomes. So in order to get a density, they have to have an underlying residential designation. And therefore, that's our recommendation is that for both parcels, they have an underlying R3 designation with the overlay PUD designation. And that is our recommendation that is in the staff report. And I would just read it for the record just to make it clear. So we recommending a motion to approve the following item. 1, annexation of parcel A into the city of Palaca municipal boundaries. 2, amendment the future land use for this parcel A from Palma County Urban Service to the city of Palaca residential medium, and rezoning of parcel A from Palma County R1 to multifamily residential R3 with the planned unit development overlaid on top of it. And finally, 4 is the rezoning of parcel B from the neighborhood commercial section to multifamily R3 with also an overlay planned unit development overlay district. The applicant, the agent for the applicant is here, and she's going to make a short presentation, and I'm here to answer any questions. Just to point out that we have included a map that summarizes, our recommendation, which is the last page of the staff report.
Okay,
Yeah, Mrs. Estate's going to address you.
thank you. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
I feel so short right now.
If-
Hold this down.
Yeah, pull it right on down to where you need it.
I am short for the record. Shalene Estes, 14785 Old St. Augustine Road, Jacksonville.
Okay.
I actually don't have a short presentation. I
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like Lorenzo hit everything on the head when it comes to the project. We've been working on this for quite some time, but I am here for questions,
Mhm.
if you have any.
Does anybody on the board have any questions? Mr. Barnes? Okay.
I had one question, and it might not be the appropriate time to address it, but just I was reviewing the packet. And so the primary entrance and egress for traffic will be off of St. John's, correct?
It's correct. You're right.
And the secondary is off McClory.
We do plan on keeping McClory open, yes.
Okay, that I was, Mr. Chair, I just had some concerns just with that, the traffic in that area being tight. But I'm assuming y'all would have some speed limits or something through there, because I know that road runs right through.
Well, it does run through the apartment, plus there's 2 still existing parcels to the north up there. That one is occupied, the other one's still in ownership. It's not under, us or anything. So we vacated the internal roads with the county. They were very happy to give up those right of ways. But the McClory Drive will stay open and improvements will be made to that section of McClory Road, yeah.
And where will that come out on St. John's Avenue?
Can, do you have the
Yeah, but
site
she said
plan?
they're gonna be in.
It's next to the apartments.
Thank you.
Between College and Ziegler.
If you go back
I
to
mean,
the
I
one that was
understand
just
it's
there,
maybe- Okay, so, but
That
I
one
mean,
right there, yes.
what is there, where are you coming out there is what I'm trying to get at.
off of, you mean
St.
where
John's.
exactly on St. John's?
Just, man, just an
Well,
idea.
it's still being engineered, so I couldn't give you a very specific
Yes, ma'am.
answer.
Just,
But generally, I would say it's probably more than 500 feet from the apartment access point,
which one?
the one to the west, sorry.
Carriage Gates?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
all right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there a complex? There must be.
Well, you have, Carriage Gates and Holly Ridge.
Is there a complex to the right-hand side of that?
To the Viking,
That's the one
Viking.
that sits back off. the
Yes, sir.
road, And it comes out right there at the
So,
the commercial.
Roberts. It's not coming.
is where you're talking about, is it between Holly Ridge and you said, I heard you say Viking, is it Viking Manor? I mean,
Yes.
Okay, so you'd be further to the east than what I'm thinking, a little bit.
Well, we'd be to the west of Viking Manor.
Right, but I'm
Yes,
saying,
yes,
what I'm,
yes,
in my
yes.
mind, I'm trying
Yeah.
to put it together. If you'd be
Yes.
further to the east, you'd be between Holly
Yes.
Ridge and probably that doctor's office.
Yes,
Okay. Uh-huh.
Mr. Chair, let me just point out that they're not applying for development approval at this point.
Right, I
And they
understand.
will, and we're going to be able to look into much more detail
I understand. I'm just trying to
It's
get
just
an
to have a
idea,
general, yeah,
Yeah.
just whereabouts.
right.
Just for my own mindset. Okay. All right. So anybody else got any questions? Mr. Barnes, Mr. Burnett? Mr. Wallace, you have any questions?
Do we have to make it into one parcel to get your density in?
Well, there were a few different reasons. That parcel came to us afterwards and it actually makes for a much better access point than McClory. So
I
it,
like that better.
right, it felt better. It's safer. It just turned out to be a much better option.
But don't you need the acreage of the two together? to
Well,
make it
that definitely
decent?
helps. As you can see, the pond, there's a rather large pond to the north as well, too. So there's a lot of green space up in that area as well. So it's providing some, yes. But the majority is going to be further down.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Wallace, was your question, do we need to combine the two parcels into one legal parcel?
Do we need to combine?
Is microphone on?
PUD over road, and to get the development going, we need to.
Mr. Wallace, turn your
combine-
microphone on, please.
It's on.
It's on, I'm just leaning back.
That's a staff question, I
Do
believe.
you understand what I mean, Jared?
Unity of title for the entire parcel?
Yeah, but
Don't we have to put the two together under a PUD?
You can have two separate rezonings into PUD, which functions as an overlay district, but I'll defer to the planning director.
right, that's exactly what it's going to.
Two parts, starting on two.
It eventually it's going to be one parcel.
Right.
That's what I was.
Yes,
saying.
Yes.
yes. When it comes for development, will be one parcel, and we have the overlay of the planned unit development with the underlying residential R3.
So when are we gonna?
It
do
will be
that?
one parcel, yeah.
In the future, after they get organized?
Well, this still have to go to the city commission, to get approval of the future land use and the rezoning. And after that, I believe you're going to submit, site plans, to go to development approval as a PUD.
You good, Mr. Wallace?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we need to handle these four things as separately or?
Yes.
All right.
Ms. West, for the sake of motions, since they've been defined in this case, can we refer to parcel A and parcel B, or do we need to read the parcel numbers?
You can refer to parcel A and parcel B, and let me just point out, and I know you guys are sick of it, but the amendment to the future land use map is quasi legislative in nature. However, the rezonings, the last two are quasi judicial in nature. Let me know if you have any questions on either one of those.
Thank you.
And don't forget to take public comment.
I'm just waiting on everybody to quit their thing. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to or for this or against this? Seeing none, I will move this back to the board. We'll start with the annexation of parcel A. You said I didn't need to read the numbers. Okay. Into the city of Palaca municipal boundaries. Do I have a motion saying such?
Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve the annexation of parcel A into the city of Palaca municipal boundaries.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, seeing none, motion passes unanimously, Ms. Krantz. Okay, we're moving on to number 2, amendment of future land use map for parcel A from Putnam County Urban Service to the city of Palaca residential medium density.
Make a motion.
Go ahead. No,
Make a
please.
motion to amend the future land use map for parcel A from Putnam County Urban Service to the city of Palaca residential medium density.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? You're seeing none. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving on to rezoning of parcel A from Putnam County Residential 1 to the city of Palaca multifamily residential R3 with a planned unit development overlay. Is there, I hear a motion?
Make a motion for rezoning of parcel A from Putnam County Residential 1 to the city of Palaca multifamily residential R3 with a planned unit development overlay.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Rezoning of parcel B from the neighborhood commercial CA1 or C1A section to multifamily residential R3 with a planned unit development overlay for the entire parcel. Is there, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion for rezoning of parcel B from the neighborhood commercial section to multifamily residential with a planned unit development overlay for the entire parcel.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I would ask that all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We're through with that. Move on to case PB 23-19 Mosley Heights preliminary plat.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, this is a request to subdivide a tract of land into 6 residential lots and review a preliminary plat for the purpose of developing 6 single-family homes on each one of these lots. The property is currently vacant. It is zoned R1AA, and the intent of the applicant is not to request a rezoning or any change in the future land use, so will remain the same. We have reviewed the preliminary plat against the code requirements. We have listed in the staff report the ones that are relevant and pertaining to this application. And based on our review, we are recommending approval for the preliminary plat subject to a few conditions that are listed in my staff report, and I can go over them one by one. The first condition is that all utility and drainage easement, if there is any, and I couldn't find one, must be shown in the plat. Also, in a common area cited in the declaration of covenants must be shown in the plat. It's not shown now. And the general notes in the plat, number 6, they should replace the phrase "the county" with "the city of Palaca will not accept liability on it." Number 4, submit proof that all current property taxes have been paid. Number 5, submit a title opinion of an attorney at law licensed in Florida. And finally, the last condition is that the applicant will be required to bear the expense of a third-party licensed surveyor to review any final plat submitted. Based on that, we recommend approval subject to all those conditions being satisfied by the applicant. And the applicant is here today, and they might address the planning board too.
The applicant. Yep, here she comes. State your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Toby McQuiggan, 153 Branscombe Road, Green Cove Springs. Is there any questions about this plat? I know we've seen this a few times, so I think now we finally got it where it needs to be. There were a few things that were on here about like the utilities and drainage easements. And we had gotten with the city, and the drainage the utilities are available and we can put them in the right of way. We don't need to have any easements.
Okay.
And then as far as drainage, we had originally planned on putting those lots up on Palmacia, and we have sold that property. So that's not even part of this plat anymore. So we didn't need to put that pond in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that we don't need any drainage easements as well.
I remember many, many moons ago when we had this first conversation, there were a lot of complaints about policy, and it sounds like you've addressed that. Another complaint I remember stuck out to me was the width of the lots or the frontage. Where did we leave off on that?
They're in compliance now. They were 70 foot because I thought that the zoning was R1A. There was a misunderstanding with the overlay map from the property appraiser. And we have now made them 80 foot wide.
Okay.
I think one of them's 90.
Right, there is one that is 90.
Yeah,
One of them.
190, and the rest of them are 80 foot.
Okay.
We're not vacating any streets.
Nope. Kept it nice and simple. Hopefully.
Yes, sir, Mr. Wallace.
Same thing with this plat. It's gonna be a replat, not whatever it's called on the preliminary. Because you spell it out that it is a part of these lots, so it's a replat. And this is the one where you've got in your legend of your preliminary plat, you've got, I think you mean building restriction line, but you've got it called something strange, or I think it's strange. Can you go to that?
DRL,
Say again?
building relief line.
Yeah,
You don't like it to be called that?
building relief line? I didn't know what it was.
If there's like, if
Mr. Speak, step up to the microphone, please.
if there's a terminology that the board would refer to for the setback lines, I can call them setback lines, building setback lines,
Restriction lines?
building
That's
restriction
what-
line.
In most cases, I've never heard them called building relief lines. Because you gotta be relieving something.
Restriction, you said restriction, right? Relief or restriction, which would you prefer?
You gotta know what they are. And I don't think if you ask other surveyors what a relief line was, they'd be able to tell you.
They're called setbacks in,
Mr. Speaks,
Setbacks and
Mr. Speaks,
restrictions.
yes,
do me a
sir.
favor, just say your name and address.
Yes, this is Stephen Speaks and my address is 120 Raintree Woods Trail, Palatka, Florida, 32177.
Thank you.
Building setback lines.
Yes, you do.
No, don't, as long as it describes what the purpose of the line is.
I got you, Mr. Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I appreciate the fact that you care. Thank you.
me too.
Yes,
I'm not,
thank
I'm
you.
just saying,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'll
No.
talk to you later.
I know, that's what I'm scared of. That's exactly what I'm scared of. Out to the whipping shed we go. You got
Okay,
anything
thank-
else to allow? Any more questions from the board? You
I'm fine.
good? Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I neglected to mention that they have, if this is approved today, they have 6 months, to submit the final preliminary, the final plat.
Yes, okay. All right, I'm going to ask Mr. Reese to step forward. Please state your name and address for the records.
It is
Pull
tall.
it down.
My name is Mary Reese. I live at 2509 Fairway Drive in Palatka. This parcel is just around the corner. Go down Fairway, turn left, and it's at the corner there of Edgemore and Mosley. And I'm glad to see that this has been redone and that the original almost double the amount of housing that was proposed was not approved. This is much better, but what I'd like to ask is a request from the Planning and Zoning Board that moving forward, any builder that comes in, look and make sure that they're looking at impact studies and what this is going to do to the surrounding neighborhood. How far back the houses sit, so there's some green space there. It's just not right on the road. The traffic. The builders came in and just cut down all the trees. there was a family of red fox that lived in that area and found one dead on the corner there one day. They had been displaced, and that happens all the time, but there was no reason to clear that land the way it was without even approval of going ahead and developing it. So I don't know if these things are anything that can be done, but just a request that builders look at what's happening to the neighborhood where they want to come, and that they are good neighbors as well. It's just left an ugly sight there the way it is now. I'm very happy that things have been changed and that there are only 6 units now that will be built, one going out onto Mosley, which is right down from the golf cart. I was going down Mosley today, and guy was on his phone, not paying attention in one of the golf carts, and ran right out in front of me. It's a busy little area, people walking back and forth with the pool and whatever. So 1 extra car or 2 extra cars for one home won't be that big a deal, but all the ones that were proposed before were. I'm happy that there are conditions set, and that I feel a lot better. And I wanted to say thank you to the board for doing that, and that's all that I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Preston Bartlett. Okay, if you pass, you pass. Okay. Okay, well, you say right now, I'm just saying, you pass, you pass. This is your chance to speak.
Preston Bartlett, 1521 High Street, Palaca. My concerns are where the entrances and exits of this property are going to be.
Where did speaker or the?
Yeah, I can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead.
6 of the lot will have frontage along Edgemore, and 1 lot is going to have front end access on Mosley. There are 6 lots, and they're all going to be, like I said, Edgemore going to have 6 frontages.
How far are they going to set back?
Well, let me just point it out to you also, to the board. This is just a preliminary plat. We're not reviewing the development itself of the single family home. That will come later. And once this plat is approved, they will submit a site plan approval request, and that will be reviewed again by staff and by the planning board and the city commission.
You know what type of homes they're building?
I could, maybe that question is for the applicant.
Just look all around. Build 50 houses.
Wait a minute, wait, that's not talk from the chairs, okay? You got, if somebody was, one of y'all want to speak to that?
Toby McWigan, 153 Branscombe Road, Grinco Springs. You can go to our website, or I can give you a list of addresses. There's the one 2400 Lundy Road on the corner, and then the one right in front of it, 2401 Fairway, I think. And then those 2 houses we built. And then we built one down on Brentwood on the cul-de-sac there. That was a side entry garage, little Zoe. So yeah, if you had any questions, just call me, look on our website. I'll pick up the phone.
I just don't want to see like those wedge houses.
So we're gonna build what's gonna sell, and most people that are on that size lot are gonna want a 2-car garage, 1,800, 2,100 square foot house.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay. Anybody else would like to speak to or for or against this project? Yes, Ms. West.
Chair, just very briefly to address one of the comments, we have recently enacted an ordinance here in the city of Palaca to now require that even if you're in residential zoning, you do have to get a permit for tree removal. That's a
Okay.
recent change. And so
Right.
what happened on this site would, as of the adoption of that ordinance a couple months ago, would no longer be legal in Palaca.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Y'all have any discussion, Mr. Wallace,
Yeah, I echo, and I can't remember her name already, the lady's
Ms. Reese?
opinion back there. I catch a lot of grief for being the tree hugger. Don't grin. And, I would like to see more than the minimal, what I call a builder's package for a house put there as far as landscaping goes, because it's a desert now and it wasn't just a few years ago. It was a nice wooded area and it was cleaned up, here, bulldozed out.
Okay. Any other? Yes, sir, Mr. Barnes?
Mr. Wallace, that is something we can address further on in the plat process when it comes back to us.
Yeah,
So-
but you want to get the plug in early.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Any other? Okay. Do I have a motion on case PB 23-19?
Mr. Chair, I will move that staff recommend the approval of the proposed preliminary plat, subject to the applicant addressing all the comments listed by staff, and the one correction notated earlier by Mr. Wallace. What was that specifically? Setback lines, the correction for the verbiage used for setback lines.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Call for all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, how am I gonna go about this?
Mr. Chairman, this brings us to our last item. which is
Sir?
This brings us to our last item
Yes,
today.
sir.
And this is a presentation by Monica Dominguez from the Northeast Florida Regional Council. This is the final report, draft final report of the City of Palatka Vision Plan. The city contracted the council last year to prepare this vision of the city, and she's going to be presenting to you the result of that visioning process. And just let me point out to you that the intent of the vision plan is to serve as a basis for the update to the comprehensive plan that we hope to be embarking right after approval by the city commission of this visioning plan.
Good afternoon, planning boards and members of the public. My name is, let me just, do I point somewhere, Sunny? Oh. My name is Monica Dominguez and I work for the Northeast Florida Regional Council, and I was part of the team that helped to implement this project. Along with me today is my colleague, Robert Jordan, GIS Regional Planner. Also, Cassidy Taylor and Jack Shad were also part of this team, but they're luckily on holidays right now. You're familiar with the Northeast Florida Regional Council. We've done work for you before. And one thing we wanted to tell you is that we don't really tell cities what to do. Rather, what we're here to do today is to tell you what we heard during this year-long process through numerous engagement efforts. And our role typically is to help small cities realize their planning and their visions and their goals. So the comprehensive plan update is a state requirement. And the last time the city of Palatka updated their comprehensive plan was in 2008. As Mr. Agemo said, the comprehensive plan is somewhat of a, often referred to as like a constitution for a city. So it's a planning document that allows the city to envision where it's going, and then it's a binding document for everybody in the city. So it's extremely important to first have a vision, and that's kind of what we worked on. For today's meeting,
I will share with you the results from the public engagement meetings and the online survey. I will also present to you the draft vision for the city of Palatka. And then I'll also, because along this process, we've had two clients. We've had the city of Palatka that will be undertaking the comprehensive plan update, but we've also had the public who provided engagement, a lot of public input, and that's how we came up with the vision. So we'll provide you that first part, which is, how we organized over 1,300 comments and how we created themes. So then you can take it, the city of Palatka can take it and then update your comprehensive plan. And then at the end, we'd like to ask you, did we get the vision right? Is there anything else that you'd like us to add? As I mentioned, this has been, this program, the Palatka Vision, has had 8 public meetings and an online survey that ran for 13 weeks. This was at the request of the city staff. And, we tried to host meetings across the city. So Jenkins Middle School, Ravine Garden Centers, St. John's River State College. We even had a pop-up booth at the Blue Crab Festival. And then the numerous meetings such as this one that are public meetings as well. So moving on to the survey results. So as part of our survey, we wanted to identify who was participating. And at our first kickoff meeting, one loud comment that we heard was in request is involve the youth. The youth need to be involved. The youth need to tell us what they think. So if you look at the age breakdown on the people that participated in the survey, 49% of the participants are 17 and under, which is very unusual for a survey that's related to a comprehensive plan update. And the reason for that is because we sent a request to the Palatka Junior and Senior High School, as well as St. John's River State College. And then we sent a couple of reminders throughout the 13-week timeframe, inviting them to take part in this exercise that defines what Palatka would look like, the city of Palatka will look like in the future. So we're very happy with the responses from the youth. We also asked people to identify where in the city they lived. So that peach orangey area is the city of Palatka, and we got in or near Palatka 229 people. And then we had 123 people outside of the city boundaries, but still consider themselves of the Palatka community that also took the survey. We asked participants to tell us, please provide a word or a phrase that describes your vision for the city of Palatka. And we came up with a word cloud that gave us a pretty interesting insight of what people think about the city of Palatka. So, for example, the word growing, you see that it's a little bit larger. And that what that means is that a few more people used it than, for example, equality. It's a smaller word. So less people used it. So what you'll see here in this word cloud is the bigger the word, the more people used it. And so you'll see it's a little bit of everything. You have the report and you can look at it. I think also, there's some funny words kind of related to age, which we really enjoyed. So now getting into the survey, we asked participants, what do you like? Do you like historic design? Do you like contemporary design? And what we found is that age really defines style. In this case, the general survey said that there's a strong preference for historic design. However, if you isolated the youth response, they preferred the contemporary design. And they put much less emphasis on preserving historic structures. As well, Something that ranked really high was tiny homes, garage apartments, and in-law suites. Now, there was also a preference for the cities to incentivize private developers to build affordable housing. And then there was a desire for more affordable, smaller housing units that may be suitable for higher density. But interestingly enough, people expressed a liking for a low density look. So kind of putting all these thoughts together, smaller housing units can help to maintain the character of a neighborhood while maintaining the demands of affordable housing. In general, people want more amenities. They said that people want parks. Passive parks rank the highest among the community development elements, but in general, all parks ranked high. Passive parks, active parks, community-based resources like a community center, and an active waterfront. So again, this confirms the community's desire for more amenities. People also want more additional river access. The youth, their responses isolated, they preferred motorized river access. The general survey showed a preference for both motorized and non-motorized. People also want diverse commercial development. Now, there was a preference to incentivize commercial activity that promotes diversity both in shopping and employment. When we dug into this a little bit more, respondents expressed a desire for reactivating the mall or improving the mall. So I think, and this is part of attracting major retailers to that space and also developing a movie theater. People want more public art and cultural events, mostly in downtown, but in any neighborhood across the city, they are open to it. So I put a couple of, art and both events that happens across your city. Now, something that ranked really high for us is that score the highest actually out of any kind of preference was street lighting. People, we received lots of comments and it scored really high for a preference to have more street lighting. And there was also a preference for pedestrian and bike-friendly infrastructure. The people of Palatka also expressed an interest to conserve the natural environment. This included conserving wetlands and an interest or a liking to bioswales. Now, bioswales are non-traditional looking infrastructure. If you look at the picture in the right, it doesn't look as quote unquote manicured. They contain Florida wild plants and can look a little bit wilder, but their function is more than just grass, but also to help the filter the rainwater and such. And people like that. Now moving on to the draft vision for the city of Palatka. In the word cloud, you may have remembered that there was the word pride. And I think through the comments, we could tell that the community pride was a constant theme. And Palatka residents love their city, but want to see the improvement of the existing town. And so that focus on infill development is that improve the existing town. Also, and I put quotes just to go with every slide of comments that we got from people. There was also the theme of to reduce blight and encourage new affordable housing. Support for historic land uses. So there was an interest in adding more housing, but without large-scale apartment buildings, unless it's along the commercial corridor. And this also is to encourage traditional building forms that can increase affordable housing. So we're looking at structures like duplexes, quads, and garage apartments. Support for historic land uses. Now, this speaks a little bit more about allowing mixed-use projects along commercial roads. So on the left hand side, the picture, I think it looks, like some of your storefronts here in Palatka. And I wanted to also show you an example of what they've done in Key West, which is also a commercial corridor. But then in the second floor of the units here, it's residential. So it's just a way to mix, residential with commercial. High quality public spaces is something that we heard. Now there is a theme to focus on all neighborhoods, reduce blight, and encourage rehabilitation and redevelopment. So kind of like the picture on the right, and improve parks and the waterfront. Following with the theme of high quality public spaces, we noticed that people were put a lot of emphasis on historic buildings. And so the theme is to conduct this is more of a recommendation, but to conduct a historic survey on the remaining neighborhoods. Because what's happened now is you have a historic district, but there's properties that actually are now eligible to be historic buildings, but haven't really been surveyed outside your historic center area. So I think, this map gives you kind of a good understanding of what's out there for you to survey. Department of State has a great program for this. And then multimodal infrastructure. I think there was a lot of comments and themes around supporting infill by improving multimodal infrastructure. What does this refer to? Walkability and bikeability. Adding bike paths and trails wherever possible. Now, your CRA plan has recommendations around increasing connectivity through sidewalks and trails, and, create shaded areas for people to enjoy walking. And I think this just sort of follows that recommendations and takes it, citywide, not just in the CRA. In terms of multimodal as well, one way to encourage future transit is to support walkability now. And so it's, in a way, I think it's sharing the road with everything, a bike, a car, a scooter, you know what I mean? And giving accessibility to all those who want it. Public transit. So those are the themes for the vision. And then this is the part that I think helps, we hope that it helps the city or whoever updates your comprehensive plan. So we had over 1,300 comments. And so what we did is we started putting them in themes that made sense to whoever the drafter of the update of the comp plan will be, can take these comments and start comparing and contrasting. So what we asked is we made a summary of the comments, and that's in the report, that's the appendices section. And we said, is there a corresponding objective or policy in your comprehensive plan? And it's a yes or a no. If yes, we've identified which element and which objective it belongs to in the policy. And then we've added a little bit more context under the notes. If it's a no, then obviously it doesn't have an element, objective, or policy, but we provided the spirit of the comment and how it was, to give it a little bit of context for whoever updates the comp plan. And that's our two different products, the vision and then this objective policy corresponding vision comments. And so that's, as promised, I ask now of the planning board if we missed anything, if you'd like us to consider anything else, is there anything you'd like to add before it goes to commission?
Staff, I don't see that last slide she had in our packet. If we could get that to us, that'd be great.
You mean the table?
Correct.
Yes. We'll provide you, yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, that's very, very helpful for us, when we're gonna do the update to the comprehensive plan. We already identified, which element in the comp plan is, what objective or what policy affects, so it's gonna be very, very helpful.
Did you miss?
Yes, please.
You missed trees and streetscapes. Trees are very important. Trees are out there.
Oh, yeah.
And, not just down St. John's Avenue, but, other places.
This isn't meant to be a silly question, but we do still have a tree committee-ish programming, right? Okay, very good. Thank you.
Couldn't tell, could you?
I can be, it's a committee, this is a board, so I'm allowed a committee and a board.
I'm not fussing at all. It's valuable input from perspectives that other people don't share.
And like our downtown, you were talking about, I forget what our phrase was, but, we pushed hard for years and years and years because our downtown was commercial. You could have offices, which they tended to put all the professional offices upstairs and retail on the ground. But we pushed for years and years and years to get it so that you can, we have residential upstairs and we have retail on the bottom, but nobody's taking advantage of Charlie's place over there. He's got,
Yes.
but that was for or I think originally put there for the kids out at community college because there was no house. But, we finally got it done, but it's just sitting there.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. And if something comes up later on, I still have the email active that we put out. Sonny, can you help me move the slide? One more, please. Towards the end. I have an email that we created for this project specifically, which is palatkaplan@nefrc.org. If you would like to, we still have some time actually before we present to the city commission in September. So if anything comes up, please send us an email. I monitor that email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So any of the board members, as we come to the end of this thing, do you have any comments or anything you'd like to address? Okay.
It's not about this.
That's fine. Anything in general?
When at the corner of 19 and 20, when they built the service station.
Racetrack?
Yeah, racetrack. We required, they put a piece of artwork, and you're probably the only one, Sonny, that's been around with, long enough, I'm not saying.
No, I remember that.
But, for you?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
But we required that they put a piece of sculpture there, similar to the fish down on the river.
It wasn't a piece. I believe it was several pieces that they were supposed to put there.
They very receptive and, but it's still not there.
Yes, sir.
There's a old blown out tire on the corner.
I don't know, maybe they installed that guy that sits right out there on the center concrete piece. No, this is a totally different guy. But anyhow, could you check into that for us?
I'll look into it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's just like the station that's at the corner of 9th and Reed. They were supposed to have had trees there and they put them in there and then they let them die and pulled them out. And then the little,
Well, they, for their landscaping to meet the ordinance, they took and cut about 6 or 8 little holes up against their back.
I was just fixing to say, you're talking about the liquor store.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about the one across the street, it's the Citgo station or whatever, mobile station now. They were supposed to have done that, and then the liquor store was the same thing.
Give us a list of the properties so we can review the resolutions and the conditions. and
Yes, ma'am.
take that to code enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
So racetrack. Liquor store on what?
Yeah, and we got something in the landscape ordinance that says you gotta maintain,
Yeah,
but they put bromeliads, they cut those holes and put some bromeliads in there, which don't like the sun anyway. And,
Okay,
and now we got 6 or 8 holes going around the.
liquor store.
Ninth and
corner
11th.
of Ninth and,
It's on the southeast corner of Ninth and Reed,
What was the third
across the street from
the,
that.
the mobile station.
one?
Well, the mobile station at the corner, at the northwest corner of Ninth and Reed.
And they've actually gone in and cut, they had some beautiful crepe myrtles around through there. And they cut them down and I think they're all gone, weren't they?
Yes, sir. They are.
Okay.
We're on it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And can you make sure in our landscape ordinance that it still says maintain it? Because like.
That is a requirement. They have to maintain it.
It was a common thing,
Yeah.
Walmart, they put landscaping in the parking lot, but never maintained it.
That-
And it
that's-
all died and they were happy.
Yeah, they came
Yeah,
out.
that is a code
Tuesday.
violation. You know, they don't maintain it. It's a
Mhm.
code violation. So that has to be referred to code enforcement.
Last time I tried to get a code violation, you told me I had to go pursue it and all of it.
Told you were crazy? Oh, I didn't say that out loud, did I? Okay, anybody else on the board got any staff? Do y'all have anything that y'all would like to address or something?
No, I don't have anything.
Ms. West?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Real quickly, I just want to thank staff for all their efforts with, we got a lot of growth and development that a lot of people are excited about, and it's creating a lot of work on y'all, especially with the revision to a comp plan coming up.
Yeah.
So thank y'all for what you're doing, and Sunny as well. With that, sir, yeah, no, nope, not even close. With that, I'll move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.